Hello, hello. Come on in. All right, guys, we'll get started. Thank you for all coming here. I know some of you either came in on your day off or came in before your shift, or this is maybe a little earlier than you normally start your shift. So thank you for making an effort to get here on time. And I don't get a chance to get here very often. And it's been, I think, almost 3 months now since I've been here. So wanted to come out. I wanted to thank you guys for the great results. We're kind of mid-year right now. One of the things I do sometimes is I look at year over year stats of remuneration for people. And there's a lot of people in the room that are considerably higher than last year of where they were. So lots of good things to be thankful for. And then just, all the challenges that we've had to go through for 2 years to see us executing as good as we are with, a shortage of inventory and whatnot to continue to, sell a fair bit of cars and whatnot. One of the things that I wanted to highlight, and I'm going around all the stores, I've done Victoria and I've done Kelowna and Buy Direct, and then on Friday morning I do Kia, is to talk about a little bit about the margins. Because what's happened is in the marketplace, a lot of car dealerships, their margins are up. Your guys' margins are up, which is a good thing. But we got to make sure that our mindset isn't out of whack. And when I say that, I mean the customer experience. So people don't mind paying all the money, but the value proposition has to be there. And it'd be very easy for us to get into this sort of clique where that's the car. We only have one of them. Take it or leave it. Used cars, for instance, a lot of used cars are worth, 2 years ago, what they were worth brand new are now selling on the used car market for more than what they were paid brand new. And that's what the market demands. So it's okay to hold firm on used cars. It really is. But are we giving them the proper customer experience? Are we giving them that value prop? And that value proposition, I'm going to say it a lot. And I kind of want to reset everybody on it a little bit, because sometimes we can get too far one way of how we're giving the experience. And it's just all about the profit. It's all about the margin. And that's not a good business plan long term. We still want these customers coming back. So it's okay to ask for all the money. It's okay, and supply and demand does it. But let's make sure we're giving them something that gives them extra because of it. We've got to give them that experience. I'll give you guys an example. Who was on the fishing trip this year? Brent. Okay, you were on last year. You were on last year. Okay, and you guys, I guess, are in line for next year, providing you are a good ambassador. Right? Just giving you a hard time. But in good standing. Anyway, the thing about the fishing trip was, so we went on 10 years in a row now. Marcus and Scott, you've been on. Brent gets to come every year because he's the top salesman in the company. Lucky you. What we did on this trip is we researched a lot of different lodges, and we've decided to go a little bit higher one, 5-star. It's almost 30-40% higher than a lot of the lodges that we normally go to. So, sometimes we spend $3,000 to $4,000 a person. This one was close to $6,000. So it was a lot of money. We brought 20 people there. And when we got there, it was pretty good. So we looked on the website, we've seen the lodge, we've seen a lot of cool things to us, right? And so I just kind of want to tell you the experience and kind of how it can relate to how we do things here. So what happened was Jordan, my son, did all the research. He picked the one, and he negotiated with him and got the deal. We went ahead and booked it. And what happened was the first part of the experience was good. We got to the airport, they checked us in, we flew there, we got to go on a helicopter, whatever. And then when we got to the lodge, we looked around this magnificent lodge, and we got to go in and check in. And then we got to the lodge part. And so this is where Brent might remember. So for me, what happens on these trips, guys, because it's team bonding, and Karen and Chelsea, you guys have went on the women's one, it's team bonding. We kind of put people together that we think is going to be good. It's supposed to be about team bonding. So who we put with each other in the rooms. We don't just like pull names out of a hat. And who we put on the boat, we don't put names out of a hat. We kind of want certain people with certain things because we want it, A, for the employee to have a great customer experience, but there's also some team culture thought put on it. So when we got to the lodge, all the rooms were messed up. I was with someone, and Brent was, Winford and Paul I wanted together, and I wanted, sometimes a guy that had been with me in the company a long time, maybe with someone that just started, or sometimes, I put different techs from different stores together, or different salesmen, things like that. And we got there, and the manager didn't come out and greet me, first of all. So I'm just like, what? I couldn't find the guy. I walk in, he's not around. I just spent 120K. Like, here's all my team. Like, I expected someone to come up and say, hey, John, we're really happy to have you. Welcome. Here's, instead, nobody even knew who I was. It was just a random guy kind of walking around, nobody. And so then we look up on the board, and all the rooms are gone. And they've delivered the suitcases to different people, and I got, people that weren't together, shouldn't be together. And so I went to the girl and said, hey, like, what's going on here? None of the 10 emails like we sent you guys who were in each room, like that didn't happen. And so she kind of like, well, the packages are already sent to the room. I said, I don't care. I want the rooms the way they were, we set up. So anyway, they said, okay, we'll figure it out. She went to find the manager. I don't know where he was. Anyway, I look over at the boats. The schedule for the boats, same thing. Everyone's, scrambled randomly with different people. I'm just like, what? Then we had to go, and I had to go myself with a Sharpie marker and put all the boats off my list on my hand for the next day. So a lot of good things were happening on the trip. They had, unbelievable food. The boats were really cool. They had this big, massive fire pit where you could go down and do that. But they forgot that one segment. Like, it was some of these, my wants and needs weren't handled. So I didn't even get a follow-up call since then, asking me, what my trip was like. I mean, it's been almost 3 weeks. I mean, I brought 20 people there. It's $6,000 a piece, right? Not even a follow-up, not even a, how did we do? So like all the good things about that lodge got deterred from these other two things. I didn't meet the manager. I didn't get that special experience, and then they didn't do my wants and needs. What was really important to me was who was in the rooms together and who was on the boat together. So guess what happened? Jordan and I now got a plan for next year. We're not going back to that lodge. And they did a lot of good things. We thought, maybe value proposition, maybe we should go back to Sandspit. It's that much cheaper, but that Chad makes us feel like we're $1 million when we walk in. Anything, I snap my fingers, he can get me anything. And he rolls out the red carpet for every guest there. The one thing that I did get out of the lodge was, and all the lodges, they call their customer guests. It's like, my guest has dietary needs. My guest has, needs to be picked up. The boat's not working good. My guest needs this. My guest wants this to drink. My guest this. And I thought, geez, that's a good thing. Do we consider our customers guests at the Cod Auto Group? Maybe we should start using that term. So I guess I challenge you guys, and I paid a premium for that, but I guess I'm challenging you guys, when our customers come in here, do they feel like a guest? Do they feel like a guest, and are we giving them that value proposition of their wants and needs, like that fishing lodge story? You know what I mean? So it's really important sometimes to reset. And I looked at all, your payroll and stuff. It's great, everyone's making lots of money, but I don't want us losing sight of that guest experience. Now, I wanted to ask you guys a question. Anybody been on a vacation the last 2 years? Marcus? Yeah? So tell me about the vacay a little bit. What did you do before the vacay?
In terms of like prepping?
Yeah.
Before the vacay, wanted to make sure everything, you know, you kind of figure out what you want to do on the trip a little bit.
Yeah.
Like maybe where you want to go.
Yeah.
What you want to see, who you want to see. That
Right.
kind of stuff.
Yeah. So on vacay experiences, a lot of it's before. So you do anticipation, you do prep, you find out what excursions you want. Okay? You spend all this time on the experience before. Then you have the experience during, which is like you actually execute the trip and what you're going to do during it. And then what happens after, Brad, do you think? The trip after?
We'll look back on everything.
Right. You probably have a lot of snapshots, a lot of videos. Everybody's into Instagram. Everybody has these things they want to post on social media. And then you have your memories, your stories, right? So my point on us in the car business is it's the same. When people want to buy a car or make a big purchase, they have the before experience, they have the during experience, and they have the after experience. A lot of people think customer experience is just about that interaction when you're with the person. It's not. It's what happened before too. You know, how was the communication before? You know, how was it during, and then afterwards was there a good memory? Was there a good after thing? Did we do the follow-up right? Like Lodge didn't call me back. That's a big miss. You know, when I think back, sometimes some great salesmen miss that after part. Because, you know, if you were in the business short term and you wanted to burn through and make as much as you could over the next 6 months, follow-up wouldn't matter. But if you're in the career long term, you realize really quickly that the before and after are just as important as the during. And the after is where you can really gain customers. Like a lot of car people miss the point that most people have more than one car in their family. They have a second purchase. They have a second car. Their husband has a car, or a family member has a car, or maybe they have more than one car. And so we sold this guy this car, but we didn't really give him the experience about, hey, what about the rest? So that after becomes really important because you really want to dial into that. And the only way you can is with the guest, we'll call it the guest experience, making sure that you're good at all three. And so a follow-up is really essential to a really great guest and customer experience. And you have to nail it, just as important, like the fishing lodge story. I had a great experience on a lot of that. I stayed up on the fire pit. A lot of those things were really cool. They had a games room. We got a lot of good things. But the after experience, I had some deters, right? I had some deterrents that aren't giving me everything. So it's a full meal deal. You can't miss on the before, you can't miss on the after, even if you do a really great job of the during. So really important. Another thing I wanted to share with you, does anybody have Chelsea, do you have a restaurant that you like to go to? Do you have a favorite? Cactus. Okay, that's fine. What do you like about it? The food, and what else? Atmosphere. Okay. A lot of people go to the same restaurants because it's a habit. They like the experience, and generally they'll keep going back for the same reason, because of the energy of what they get. You know what I mean? They'll go back to the same one, right? And a lot of times they'll say to the person, you know what, you got to go to, you got to come with me to Cactus. We went for supper last night, and it was because Sarah said, you got to go to this place. So he took me to the Italian in Langley, right? Brandon and I went to the Boom and Batten recently in Victoria when I was there for their meeting, and we went out with Ben and Anthony Bird, the parts manager, the four of us, and we went to the Boom and Batten, and Brandon said, hey, one time they had a special on here. It was called the Tomahawk. And so we asked the server when she came around and said, hey, Brandon said, hey, one time I was here 6 months ago and they had the Tomahawk. Can you well, that's not on the menu. That's on the menu. You know, that was a special back then. And I was, oh, okay, we'll start looking. And then she came back and said, hey, I mentioned it to the chef. He actually said he could do it for you guys. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So then the chef came out and said, okay, I'll do up 2. I'll give you special spices. What kind of vegetables do you want? A whole bunch of side stuff. Okay. And we ordered it in about, I don't know, 25 minutes. It came out, these 2 big massive plates of, you know, steak all cut up, nice, exactly the way we wanted, special herbs and spices with a whole bunch of things. It was just a magnificent display. This big plate with 2 tomahawk steaks in there for the 4 of us. And we kind of cheered when it came out, and it was loud, and it was like, wow. So how did I feel during that experience, do you think, Marcus?
No, it's awesome. I hadn't been, we hadn't been in Mexico as well.
Yeah.
They put on a
Yeah.
big show for it.
Yeah. Brad, how do you think I felt?
Great.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. I felt special. I felt, wow, I got to order off menu. I got to get something off the menu. And the chef kind of tailored it to my want, and he made me a special thing. It was great. It was fabulous. Now, the funny part of the story was, as I was paying the bill, I noticed them bringing out another tomahawk to the table behind us. Now, the catch on the story is that someone's seen what we got. Someone's seen the experience of this thing and said, I want what they want. I want that experience. I don't see it on the menu. Can I have that? Now, the other surprise to the story was that I didn't know what they were going to charge me.
That's what I thought.
And it was a surprise when I got it. I paid a stupid premium. It was just like, okay, wow. I thought it'd be this, but it was even higher than that. But I thought, okay, you know what? It's cool. I'm taking 3 people out. It's a special experience. They wowed us. I got to order off menu. So I'm going to pay that premium. I'm going to pay that extra, and it was a lot extra. They weren't shy about it. You want to have something off menu?
There you go.
But that's okay. That's okay. So my point is, guys, when we're charging all the money on a product, you got to give them something in return. You got to give them that special things. So if I can get you guys to write down or remember 2 things of this meeting, the 2 takeaways are, the first one is manage the customer's emotions. Now, whereas when I say manage the customer emotions, what do you think I mean?
Just through maybe the process where you're right now is just trying to live up to what
Okay.
they expect.
CJ, what emotion do you think I want?
Well, you want them to feel special and leave happy.
Happy. That is the word. Ding, 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 ding. I want them, and I want you guys to say it back to each other. My goal for you guys is that when they come into Maple Ridge Hyundai, they feel happier when they leave than when they got here. That's what I mean by manage the emotions. Your goal is to make sure they're happier when they left here than when they got here. Okay? The second part of the thing that I want you to do is, and I want you to write it down, I want you to surprise them. I want you to pleasantly surprise them every time. So how are you going to do that, Brent?
I'm going to determine what turns them on, and
Right.
it's going to be off course, and I'm going to
Right.
make it happen.
Like when you think about the lodges, what if the manager would have greeted me and say, hey, just so you know, I got your list here, and like all your rooms are ready to go, and you know what, John? I put you in your own room and I put Jordan in his own room. Everybody else is the same, but I wanted to give you that pleasant surprise. We had some extra rooms. I wanted to give you guys each your own room. But everything else is ready to go. The boats, I also upgraded you a little bit. One of your boats has been upgraded. I know you paid for these little ones, because they did do that. They put me and Jordan in our own room, and they upgraded us on some boats. We paid for this level. A couple guys got extra, nicer boats. But just pleasantly surprised. But if the manager would have greeted me and gave me that, it would have been like, wow. For you guys, even like, you know, everybody, I think I see you guys all have coffees here, but a lot of you get caffeinated in the mornings, right? You like your coffees. What if when the customer got here, you knew what coffee he drank ahead of time, and you actually, as you seen him, you walked out with his coffee. Said, hey, Brent, I got it ready for you. Here it is. We got a fancy coffee machine inside. I have it all ready for you. Here's a cappuccino. Would that be a pleasant surprise? There's a lot of little things, guys. It doesn't have to be magnificent. It's that you took a little special time to think of something special for them. And that's what I mean by surprise them. Give them a pleasant surprise. For the finance office, you guys could do this one. I fly a lot. The airlines have kind of mastered this type of communication now, where I get a reminder the day before by text. It says, hey, don't forget your mask. Don't this, blah, blah, blah. It's the one place you still need masks. I hate it, but okay, I can't fly without it. I can't get on a plane without it. So that, oh yeah, you know what? And then they gave me another one an hour before. Don't forget this. You know, be here this much. Security is going to be a little backed up. We're short people. That was a pleasant surprise. You know what? Okay, perfect. Normally I kind of push the envelope. I get there an hour. I'm going to get there an hour and a half. And oh yeah, I better grab a mask. So what if sometimes we just sent a nice friendly text, hey, reminder about your appointment today at 1 o'clock. Please bring these 5, 6 things. I'm really looking forward to seeing you. A little text before their delivery appointment. That might be a pleasantly surprise for someone, that you actually took the time to think of them. It's not automated, it's personal, and that you're ready for them. I have all your paperwork done, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you're off shift. Hey, just so you know, wanted to send you a personal text. I'm off today. Karen's gonna be handling your paperwork. All the paperwork's ready. She's just gonna have you come in and sign it. Maybe that might have been a pleasant experience for them, so they weren't surprised that you weren't there. You know, all these little things, guys, these are little pleasantly surprises that we can do better. We're asking the premium. We're asking for these high margins. Now we got to start brainstorming and finding ways that we can give extra, better guest experience, better pleasant surprises to them, okay? So that's an important one. When I talk about energy, and I want to go back to the restaurants, my wife Trina has some dietary issues, so a lot of times, you know, when we go to the restaurant, she gets maybe a little edgy because she's vegan, gluten-free, and then and then she can't have canola oil and some other stuff, right? So for her, she wants it tailored. So a lot of times before we gotta, phone ahead and this and that. But the key is sometimes we'll have an experience, 2 different experiences from the exact same restaurant. Someday a server will come out, they'll be really happy, they'll be very empathetic to her and say, you know what, no problem. I'll get the chef to whip something up, let me go talk to him right now. Then he comes back out and says, hey, you know what? It's not on the menu, we're gonna do a cauliflower steak for you, we're gonna do some of this stuff. No canola oil, whatever, yeah, no, we'll use this, blah, blah, blah. We'll make a special salad, we'll do up some vegetables on the side, you're gonna love it. And then the next time we might get a server like, it's not on the menu. Maybe they don't go communicate with the chef and then they bring it out and it's wrong and then she gets sick later. Like, 2 exact same restaurant, 2 total different experiences, right? And so it's very important for us to make sure, we do the wants and needs. Energy is really important, right? So when I say good energy, Lyle, what do you think I mean?
Upbeat, keeping the customer positive, I said, making them feel special when they come in.
Yeah.
And back to that happy.
Yeah.
They want respect when they come in.
Yeah.
And we want respect from them.
Yeah.
And the best way to do that is to make sure that their experience.
Exactly. Oliver, what do you think I mean by bad energy?
Well, you don't want to be negative to the customer.
Yeah.
Any sort of negativity.
Yeah. Okay.
As you've got to keep it.
What could cause us in the workplace to have some bad energy, do you think?
Loads of different things.
Right.
It affects your
Right.
how you.
Car you were trying to sell got sold. Someone sniped you on a deal. since the start of the car business. Someone sniped each other on some cash deal. We got all kinds of things we can give examples about. But the reality is that you're a prop on a movie set. Brad, what do I mean by a prop on a movie set? Right. It means that when Brent's with a customer, it's just as important how your energy is than his energy. And it was funny, I watched this, I recommend this movie. It's a great culture movie. It's on Netflix, and it's about a true story about a rowing team. And I can't remember the name right now, but it's a rowing team story. And it's about I think it was in the 1979 or 1980. And it just really hit home with me, because the whole theme of the story was that there was a lot of good rowers on the boat. But if you know anything about rowing, they have to do it in sync. They can't win. They all have to be at the exact same precision and the exact same speed. So you got this rower that's the fastest, and this guy wants to be at the front, and this guy wants to be at the back, and this guy wants to be in the middle. And then this team kept rowing at the different speeds, and they could never ever win. And then one of the team captain said, and the coach came up with an idea that why don't they blindfold each other? So they all blindfolded, and then they started to feel, and then they started to row at the same speed. And you know, the storyline was that, you know, as soon as they started all to get in sync with each other on the mission and on the game plan, then their speed went up. Then they were able to then they got the results, and they ended up winning. And it wasn't because the best guy, the fastest rower, he got off the team. He had a bad attitude, so he got cut. And so they brought in some players that didn't have as good as individual stats, but they were better team players. And the team started winning. They started rowing all at the same speed. So my message to you guys is, if one of you or two of you aren't rowing at the same sync as the other person when it comes to guest experience, because you're carrying around bad energy, we can't win as a team. We can't be successful as a team. Everybody has to have the same mindset when it comes to having good energy in the workplace and about customer experience. What is best for the customer? That is what we all need to agree about. So all these things and all these little stories I tell you, I hope it resonates, that let's find ways to give. We can ask the money, but let's find ways about giving better customer experience. Let's make sure as a team we're rowing all together. Let's make sure that I've never come in the dealership, you know, at 1 or 2 o'clock and there's not at least one customer in the showroom. Even though you're not with someone, make sure that he's getting that great greeting, you're helping out, you're working as a team. The team is what's important. What's best for the team? Start resonating that. Sometimes we forget as individuals. We get really focused on, I'm the fastest rower. What about me? And we lose sight of the big picture. So I'm going to ask you guys to really, really reflect and reset on that. Anyone seen a movie lately? Which one? The new Top Gun. I knew someone would have seen it. It's my last story. I'm giving you guys lots of stories today. Okay. How did you like the movie? Awesome. Anybody else seen it? Okay. Most people that see the Top Gun say to me it was awesome. And then they say the thing afterwards, which is, you have to go see it. They didn't say you should go see it. Didn't say, hey, it's a great movie, it's a good movie, you might like it. They say you have to go see it. Karen, you have to see this movie. This is the best movie I've ever seen in the last 5 years. I've actually went to it twice. They don't use IG, and they don't use green screen, and the acting and the storyline is really good. But I want you to think about that. What they've been able to do is, they've been able to get recommends like, you have to go see this movie. And I want you to think about that a little bit, and all the things, the points I gave you. So let's talk about recaps. Chelsea, what's the takeaway from today's meeting?
That we need to work as a team.
Yes, very important. Karen, what's the takeaway?
We have to make sure that we are giving our customers a great experience so that they're going to recommend us each and every time.
Nice. Warriors, what's a nice takeaway?
It's important to always just have that positive energy when you're at work because it reflects on your team and the customer as well.
Movie set prop, right?
Yeah.
CJ?
Just go that extra mile to surprise the guest.
Yeah. Find something unique to do to surprise them. One of the two must takeaways I said, right? Surprise them. And I didn't say surprise them like with some big wow. I said pleasantly surprise them. It's a little pleasant surprise. Oliver?
I've got make them happy. Ultimate goal.
Make them happy.
Happier than when they came in.
The number one takeaway was manage the customer's emotions, which meant make them happier when they left than when they came in. Maybe they had having a bad day. Find a way to make their day. Make them smile. Brent?
Personalize the service.
Yeah.
Like, every person's different.
Right.
Listen. Yeah.
Find out a little bit about them. Find out when their birthdays are. Find out a lot of things. Right?
Be mindful of the team around you.
Yeah.
If I'm in a negative mood and they're with a customer and I walk through the showroom, like,
Very important, right?
be aware of
We
what
can't
the rest
row,
of the
we can't win the rowing competition if one person isn't in sync. Marcus?
Following up with the customer. That's where you're gonna find potential new business, and then also find out if there is anything that maybe we were missing in their original experience with us. So that's a big part of what we're doing here.
Right, we talked about it. The three things that happen on a customer experience: before, during, and the after. We gotta give them, that guest, all the experience. Brad?
Just making sure the value's there for them.
Yeah.
They see value in what they're getting.
Value proposition. People pay extra, but make sure we're giving them value.
Remember that our customers are guests and treat
like
them
it.
as guests, not as
Mike,
customers.
our guest is here. There's a guest, instead of the Elvises in the building,
Guest.
we have a guest in the building.
No.
Page it. All right, that's all I have, guys. Thank you for everything, and let's have a great week. I appreciate everybody. You guys are one of the teams where you don't have a lot of new blood. You guys have been together for a long time. It's fun seeing that, and you guys are executing at a real high level. So let's tighten up that customer guest experience, and we're gonna have a great year. Okay, thanks.